good content requires good ideas. So I was just talking to a client and we were talking about content. They were saying that they like my content and how can they create content that their audience will like they liked my content, right? And for those who don't know, I have an email list. I write to the email list every single day. I wake up, I meditate, I get ready, meditate, go on a walk around Manchester. I come back, make a coffee with a V60, lock in the office, and I write. I write the email, break it down to social posts, kind of ends up everywhere. I do that every single day, apart from weekends. Sometimes I do it on the weekend as well. Sometimes I do it multiple times a day. I do it daily and it's really enjoyable for me. It's fun and people seem to really, really like it. And so I was having this conversation around content and how can you create good content. And it's funny how people think they need to create good content, whether it's written and they think that the thing they need to understand is good punctuation or any little kind of writing hacks, or the worst one, for some reason people on LinkedIn really care about formatting. They really care about pressing enter at the right time so the words make a nice pattern, which is really like splitting hairs on what's going to be good content or not. Or if it's video, you know, people are looking at, okay, what kind of hooks can I do to really bring people in, or what kind of, the worst is like, what kind of video is going viral that I can use at the start of my video, like I've seen a lot of people doing on Reels, someone falling on the floor and then they end up being the person who's creating the video. All of that shit, right? None of that shit is gonna really create good content, right? It might be good for clicks. It might be good for people, grabbing people's attention initially. But the actual content is not necessarily going to be good because of any of that stuff. That's not what creates good content. Good content is created by good ideas. Because when we break it down, whether you're doing a video or a written piece of content, when we break it down, all the content is a vehicle to transmit an idea. And if you are a coach or creator, we want to be able to transmit our own ideas, our own philosophies, and our own way of doing things so people can understand them, see them, and then want to be part of that, right? So if we understand now that, you know, content isn't, okay, this is good for email, this is good for this is good for that, and really content is simply a vehicle to transmit your ideas and philosophies, well then good content is created by good ideas. So with this in mind, this is what I've been doing recently, and it's been really, really making my content more enjoyable, making my content better, and making my ideas better. So I do that whole thing, right? And this is the valuable part of the video, by the way, so listen up. I do that whole thing, the morning routine, blah, 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 blah. I get into my office with the coffee, but this time, before I write for the email list, before I write for publication and, you know, something that's going to be published to people, I write for myself, because writing is the best way to clarify your thoughts. Probably maybe second best after actually speaking your thoughts out to someone. Writing is a tremendous way to clarify your thoughts. I heard someone say once that writing is using your hands to untangle your thoughts, right? You're getting your thoughts out and you're getting them down. And when we write, not to go anywhere, but we write for ourselves, we give ourselves the moment needed and the space needed to actually come up with these good ideas, right? This is why I find it quite ironic that people are looking for all these tips, these hacks, these crazy hooks, these crazy editing and stuff to be able to create good content, and then they create content as quick as possible. They batch create content and just try and do it like something that they just need to tick the box of and then move on to the next thing, right? When we do it like that, we're not injecting it with the most important thing, which is really good quality ideas that people actually want to read about and want to see. So again, what I've been doing recently and what I suggest you do if you want to improve your content is, but I'll tell you from my experience, I sit down and I give myself the space to explore my ideas, because I'm always doing my work. I'm always staying close to clients and close to my own work and close to doing what I do as well, right? And during that, I'm collecting data and I'm collecting ingredients all the time. I'm always reading as well. All of this stuff, everything that's coming in, I'm collecting data and collecting ingredients. So then that space where I do very little but sit there and I think about what have I seen, what themes am I seeing, what conversations have I had with clients and things like that, and I can sit down and I can start to actually break things down and I can start to explore things. It's in that moment where I actually start to come up with novel and interesting ideas. And sometimes I'll find a thread. That's how I look at it, right? You find a little thread and you're like, that's interesting. And you continue down that thread and you continue to flesh out these ideas. And every now and then it might be an idea that's actually a really good one. And I'll tell you, last year in my business, I had a couple of ideas that made me thousands or tens of thousands and continue to, because I flesh out the idea and then people come to me for access to these ideas because I make them reality. So for example, one of the threads that I had recently was, I was doing this, I had this moment of exploring ideas and I asked myself the question, what really is the difference in my world as I'm building aligned creator businesses? What's the difference between a coach and a creator in my world and in my language? How do I choose to differentiate the two? And I explored that and I came up with a whole kind of model around that. And that became content. That actually became content for clients as well. And it will continue to lead on to another idea and another idea and another idea, right? So if you want good content, it requires good quality ideas. If you want good quality ideas, you need to be taking in good quality information and taking in good quality data, but then also giving yourself time and space to actually sort through this and put these ideas together. Because once you've got high quality ideas, the content is easy. The content's the easy bit. I've seen this happen so many times where I've spent ages on a piece of content and I've really wanted it to be good and it wasn't. And I've had other times where I have an idea and usually it's like after a client call or a group call with clients, I have a content idea, I sit down and I flesh it out to the point where, I sit down and I write it in seconds before the next call, and it's a really well received bit of content, and I love it too because it was just the idea and the idea had energy and I'm just transmitting it. So if you want good content, have good ideas. If you don't have good ideas, give yourself the data to be able to actually be able to come up with ideas, because often these novel ideas are just kind of finding the link between things that hadn't been found before, and give yourself the space for these ideas to come through and the time to be able to actually explore them. If you do that, your content will become much, much better.